Hi, and welcome to another Terribly Fun Films review. I'm your host through all the crazy awfulness, Bobby, and today we're looking at another Syfy Channel film. This one's a personal favorite of mine. It is Warbirds, and it is the movie that got me to look more seriously at the Syfy Channel films as opposed to just watching with a more ironic eye, if you will. And a quick antidote about the film. Rewatched it the other day with my wife, and she was very excited to watch it with me because she enjoys these sorts of things. When I told her the plot, she got excited and was hoping it was some sort of companion piece to Mark Atkin's P-51 Dragon Fighter, or it's known in my household, Nazi dragons, because that's the plot of P-51 Dragon Fighter. It's Nazi dragons, and it's awesome. Warbirds is not intended to be in any way, shape, or form an actual piece to that. They're not really related, but there's actually nothing in either film that makes them not related, so it is sort of fun to go off of that. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get to the review. Warbirds was made in 2008 and was directed and written by Kevin Gendandrew. I hope I'm saying his name right. I probably butchered it though. The basic plot is that we see a crew of women Air Force pilots. They were known as WASPs, Women Air Force Service Pilots. And up until recently, the actual WASPs, like in real life, weren't allowed to be buried in Arlington Cemetery. I know there was a lawsuit going on about that, and I believe they won. I'll have to look into that. But anyway, they are transporting unknown cargo for Colonel Jack Toller, played by Brian Krause. And during a really bad storm, their plane gets struck by lightning, and they crash land on an island. On this island, they find some downed Japanese ships, Japanese Zeros, and a few alive soldiers, and the titular Warbirds. And that's it. They're trying to find a way off of the island. They have to help their own enemy in order to survive. Will they? Who will die? That kind of thing. That's your plot. And plot-wise, it's like every other movie of that sort. Even minus the working with your enemy thing, kind of. It's sort of the plot of Dead Mine, which is another really good B-movie about World War II that I definitely recommend. The dialogue has that old 1940s back and forth. It's very zingy, if you will, and that actually makes it a lot of fun. It feels kind of at that time period. The costumes are really good. The costumes are by Susan M.B. Chambliss. That is quite a name. And the costumes look really authentic. And as the days wear on, that they're trapped on this island, become more worn down, and the level of dirt and grit in them is very admirable and fun. The cast is mostly really good. Brian Krause, most people will know him as Leo on Charmed. He's also been in several B-movies, including the fantastic Poseidon Rex, fairly recently. And he's really good here. His character doesn't have much of an arc. He's very stoic and stern, but he does play that very, very well. As the lead female pilot, the captain, Max West, Jimmy L. Mann is really good. Very determined, self-sufficient. She feels like that sort of independent 1940s woman you see in movies like His Girl Friday and that sort of thing. And that's a tricky thing to pull off, and I think she did that really, really well. As the captain of the Japanese army, Tohoru Masamune is good. Sadly, the movie does play into some racial stereotypes. Not too many, not a lot, but there are certain things about honor and, killing yourself, that sort of thing, that are tricky, I guess, but I think he plays them well, if that makes sense. The music by Billy Lincoln is good, with a really strong theme at the end, but aside from that very victorious moment, I don't remember most of it. Cinematography by Adolfo Bartoli is excellent. The movie looks really good, especially set at night. There's a long stretches of this film that are set at night, and they're very clear, very easy to see, but they don't look like obvious day for night shots. And I'm not sure the budget this movie was working with, but I don't think that was easy when big budget films like The Time Machine with Guy Pearce fail so miserably at day for night shots. So good job there. The editing by Margaret Gunny is also very good. They do some very clever, fun things with it that are very exciting and interesting to watch, which is cool, and I'm glad they do that. The biggest thing in terms of that is cutting between how the Japanese soldiers and the American soldiers are burying their dead. It's very subtle, it's very simple, it's very elegantly done, and it adds more dramatic weight to the film than would be otherwise. But who cares about any of that, right? I mean, it's a movie called Warbirds. It's a Syfy Channel creature feature. We care about the titular Warbirds, as you well should, with the special effects being headed up by Ken Speed, Matthew Scurry, Skip Scurry, and Anne-Marie Strickland, along with Tim Petrie as the designer and modeler for the pterodons that are attacking everything. They look really cool. They're really well colored. Each one is slightly differently colored. It's not just a mix and model, but they're basic, very dark, sort of gray-blue mix with some light thrown in on the wings. And they look really good. They interact well with their environments, and when the human live actors have to, come face to face with them, for the most part, it looks believable. They move in interesting and mostly realistic ways, and they're pretty intimidating. They have these big, gnarly teeth, and they're very quick, much quicker than they look like they would be, which causes them to feel like an actual hard threat, which is fun. As for the action is mostly filmed fairly well. Despite being titled Warbirds, there aren't that many action scenes in the sky. We open up on one, sort of, and then we have the one where they crash, and then for the longest time it's the action happening on the island. They're trying to recover parts to cobble together a ship to escape. They need fuel, the birds are attacking them in the sky, they're all on the ground, that kind of thing. But it's good. It doesn't get repetitive or boring ever, so that's exciting. And when we do get our big moment in the sky, it's totally worth it. The way the planes are zigzagging out through the sky, along with being followed by the pterodons, who are never really explained. They just simply exist, which I'm actually happy with. I don't want some explanation for that. It's much more interesting if it's just a thing. It's really good, and the cinematography during the sky fight is probably the best in the entire film. I really love this movie. I've watched it several times. I own it on DVD. I highly recommend that you pick it up too. So, as always, I'm your host Bobby. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.